good weekend, guys?
Yeah.
Really good weekend?
Busy.
Good.
Long. But it's good, yeah, I enjoy it. Really good.
Anything in particular that you liked? Or
Just the interactions and about the characters you've previously played, and obviously the show you've just previously died in. But other than that, I love just seeing all the cosplay and just seeing everyone smiling and being in a place where
everybody has that same
there's nowhere like it, which is amazing.
I like it because, largely coming from theatre, there's such an immediacy with the audience in theatre that you lose with television. And as much as I love it being a very different medium, it's literally like having a chat with the audience. And it makes you feel like you're doing something right. Yeah, when they come along and say, "Oh my God, you're scary," or something, you think, "Aha, doing the right thing then." Yeah.
I work almost exclusively in film, and television has been 30 years since I was on stage. And so for me, it's, meeting the audience is absolutely, because otherwise all I ever see is that kind of round circle of glass, the lens. That's my relationship. So it's very important for me to meet them. And they're such an extraordinary and generous and, for the most part, pleasant bunch of people as well.
They really are. So polite.
Yeah.
And like you said, just the common cause that they all have. I like the word fanatic in the good sense, because the passion that they have is just, it's beautiful.
What's it like working on a show like this with obviously such kind of huge attention from the world, I guess, now? How does it feel?
I mean, people don't somehow grasp the fact that, although in many respects it's a very good show to work on, it's just a job. And for us, it's a camera and it's costumes, great costumes, great cameramen, all that fantastic. But it's just a job, and we do it. And the thing that is extraordinary is on the other side of the transmission. It's the reactions that we get from the audience. For us, it's
Because you give the same as you would respectfully give another job, and it's about the character for us and how they interact with each other. So we're all just very lucky that everyone's taken it to their hearts on a crazy level.
Speaking of characters, for you, Hannah, what drew you to play Scepter now? Like, she's not really a pleasant woman, so what attracted you to that role?
The fact that she is so simple in her desire, and she's I have to get into such a different mindset, such a different rhythm, and having played quite a lot of glamorous and funny characters over the years, to be so economical with my movement, with my reaction to things, and just lock into a very dark and actually I think quite a sad place, is everything that you would want as an actor. It goes back to why you start, because you want to inhabit different people's rhythms, different people's reactions, and that's what it's about for me. So it's been lovely to really go to the nth degree with someone.
It's interesting that you talk about your focus in terms of the process as a theatre actor, and I'm curious if any of you have given any thought to this next generation of performance art that is emerging as we look at things like immersive theatre and virtual reality and augmented reality. It requires and demands a certain type of performance that isn't necessarily the same as what you may be used to.
I think it's exactly the same. I don't think as long as there's a genuine intention, then it makes the same. Now, on stage you might go, no! On telly you might go, no. On film you might go,
Yeah.
but the intention remains absolutely the same.
It has to.
And without the purity of intention, it just doesn't work. It's what we call in the trade bad acting.
When you're filming on the Game of Thrones, what locations? Because you're scattered everywhere, aren't you? When you're filming.
I mean, the thing, it is so big. I mean, it's not just that we're scattered, but the production is dealing with 3 different units in 3 different places, often in different countries, and at one point different continents. So, I mean, for us, it's just, it depends what your job is. You were up at the wall.
I was up in Ireland on Belfast, where the others were filming in Belfast, but they got a chance to go to Iceland and film some lovely landscape.
Did you get it?
No, I didn't get it. Yeah, I was at home watching them. I was like, oh, that would have been lovely. I was just basically, I never kind of, my character never really, we did come out of Castle Black, but really just around the borders of it, you know. So never got to meet any other actors, only the ones in Castle Black.
So that's all
we had
Belfast?
a drink in the hotel.
Yeah, in the hotel. In the hotel is where, you know, well, I became starstruck. Oh, look, it's Khaleesi. It's just, you know, it's nice where you can interact.
Okay.
It's rare though,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
it's really
You kind
rare.
of-
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
It
all
only,
done
it
Grab
only
each
happens in
other.
Belfast because the interiors are all done in Belfast,
Okay.
in the studios. The exteriors are all on location. It depends what storyline you're in. If you happen to be in Westeros or Bravos, these are sunny places, and so you go to nice places.
You really got the shoulders and the stick with you getting stuck in Belfast on the wall, in comparison to them.
Yeah, yeah. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, was it really cold there?" You know, everyone else went to sunny countries. Well, it wasn't really, because the snow was fake.
Yeah.
So everything was just white, so it looked like it just felt cold. As soon as you look at white everywhere, it just feels cold. But at the same time, I do feel the cold. I'm really 8 stone slim guy. But with all the costume on, it wasn't that cold. We were really warm. It was only on the hot days we would take it off. When is it take it off? Yeah. Was that a question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I was like,
Just weird working in artificial snow, isn't it?
it is. It
Because you expect
really
to
weird.
see
You
steam
go
on
to
your
touch
breath,
it.
and
No,
it's
don't
not.
touch his face. You get, yeah.
It
Redo it.
confuses your
Yeah.
expectations
Stuff
of
with
your
it.
environment. It's
Yeah.
very odd, isn't
Yeah,
it?
really weird.
Just given that the character's now exited this, immediate universe, but you're in quite a large universe when you look at the context of the Game of Thrones universe. Do you see any alternative ways that you would like your individual character to live beyond the TV screen, whether that's in a book or a comic or something else?
No, for me personally, I think she's been realised in such a, where she comes in and how she comes in and with whom she comes in has been just perfectly placed. So, I mean, if you take it to the extreme of when I've finished filming one season and going to the other, I don't like to think of anything else beyond that, like what you're saying, or even all the social media or everything. Because if I start getting involved in any of that, I can't lock into what I'm doing, especially in the cell scenes when I'm trying to get confessions out of people. I have to lock in and not think of the bigger picture or what might happen afterwards or whatever. It just has to be about extracting that moment. So no, it's a perfect world, and she arrives in it just the right time, I think.
I don't think it is a big universe. I think it's quite small, in fact. And the reason why I say that is because I think what fascinates me about the universe that we occupy is that it's not pre-classical, it is a-classical. So unlike all of European culture, in fact reaching as far as South Asia, which everything's based on classical culture, it's not there. So they don't have Corinthian columns, they don't have banks that look like Greek temples. It's completely absent. And that's, I think, the brilliance of the piece, is that you can create what you might term a heterotopic space, put people in it, so they expose the human foibles, but completely detached from the world that the rest of us know, which includes, of course, putting dragons in. But only just, not many dragons. I know that's the brilliance. But I do think it creates quite a small world, in fact.
Now that the story is far away from the book because they are ahead from the books that J. Martin
Yes.
wrote, did you feel some sort of difference in the piece of the story? As audience, I could feel it. It goes a lot quicker than in the past series. Do you feel a difference to it?
I think if you're used to his writing style, of course there's going to be a gear change, but I think David Benioff and Dan Weiss they've been working so tightly together for so long that I think it's as smooth as it could have been. But I think possibly moving forward, like you say, it's quite quick, and some people are enjoying that because it's a real whirlwind roller coaster. Right? I mean, this season particularly, whether it's the beauty of Hodor or the brutality of just really like death pole like crazy. But I think we will probably see even more of a shift coming up.
I think it can't be stated clearly enough that David and Dan aren't good at what they do. They are absolute geniuses.
Yeah, they are.
They are beyond anything else I've ever met in relation to anything in this
And
business.
so humble about it. It's rather beautiful.
They're fantastic people. I mean, that's the other thing. They're geniuses. Not good. They're astonishing.
And it comes from the top. I think that's why it's such an exceptionally happy
Yeah.
company of players,
Yeah, no, I agree,
because
I agree.
there are no airs and graces, and they are so including of everybody that it just trickles down, and they choose people very well, and it's quite clear that they choose people because of who the people are just as much as the character you're going to play.
I think the consequences, I mean, I give you an example of the costume department, which is unique because it's the place where resource, intention and ability meets. So you get those three things all coming together to a single point. So they've got the money to do what they want. They really want to do it well, and they can. And they do it. And that combination of those three things is so rare.
It's kind of untouchable, really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And,
there's an awful
it's
lot of
across the
things
board.
that-
Every department is like that. In that sense, it's a unique experience. So, yeah, I mean, in response to the earlier question about what's it like to work on it, it is like every other job, which is a bit better in some ways.
I mean, with Games of Thrones, you can't really have a favorite character because they keep dying, one by one. Are you scared that your characters might just die all of a sudden?
Who knows?
You see these lips? Can you see they're sealed?
You don't even get told sometimes. Like I was on another job, happy as Larry. Got the season 4 script, thinking a lot of friends, big fans of the books as well. You're saying Pip's going to live on, don't worry. You're not going to die. Everyone else is dying around you, but you're not going to die. So as soon as I opened that script, I thought, oh, what's in store for Pip? Not going to die. So I thought, how's his character going to progress? Or what, how many more lines have I got to say before I do that? And it was just straight, the arrow went through his neck, he's died, kept on looking at the back, does he come back? No, he gets burnt. And I didn't get no, how would you call it? I didn't get no time to...
So like no warning?
Yeah, no warning basis, like here's a script, bang, you're dead. I did send an email.
Or Arrow, you're dead.
Yeah, Arrow, you're dead.
Didn't you get the phone call?
No, I didn't get the phone call.
Oh, really?
No. I had
The
to send an email. I was
phone
like, why did
call.
You get a
From
phone
David
call.
and
David and Dan are
Yeah.
famous for phoning people and saying, look, really sorry, this is your last season. I mean, it's an incredibly generous touch, but they're famous for doing that. They can all call you.
No. They did send me an email after I sent them one saying, why Pip? But obviously there was like, your character lives on in the books, but your characters don't really, they got more lines, but they don't really,
They don't further the
They
plot.
don't further their anything they are doing already. So it'll be a bigger impact if we kill what people, characters what people like. Like obviously Pip, he had no bad bone in his body. So like,
Bombing!
yeah. So everyone loved Pip, and then obviously to see him kill someone, it's like, yeah, go on, he's becoming a man now. Straight out of the audience, it's like, what the?
Have you got anything planned? Like any new programs, any TV shows? theatre?
Well, from if I didn't die in Game of Thrones, I wouldn't have got to work on Child 44. That was amazing. And then after that, mainly because of Game of Thrones, it's just helping me being seen by more casting directors, more producers, more directors, which want to work with me. And just since then, done some stuff on Houdini and Doyle, Peaky Blinders next week. Just booked a job yesterday on a 5 episode. Yeah, so it's all coming in, which is nice. And it's like, from Game of Thrones, do you wait for something bigger than Game of Thrones or the same, or you just carry on working as a working actor? Because a long time ago I thought, you step up, but I say, as long as you're a working actor, you're gonna get big things again, because you just got to keep on working, keep on being seen, and it's who you meet on the way up as well,
And on the way down.
and on the way down as well, yeah.
Yeah, there's an old maxim, be nice to the people on the way up because you see them again on the way down.
It's really true.
Anything planned for you two?
I've been doing a couple of shows. I've been involved in Tom Hardy's new telly series, Taboo, as I'm starting on a new job next week. I've also been writing and stuff, and I've been doing some academic stuff. I just finished my PhD. And so I've been slotting that in a part-time manner. But that's been good, so that's all done and dusted now.
PhD was the topic. What's up?
I was writing about South Asia. I was writing about it's the evolution. I think my title was the evolution of aesthetic and genre in Anglo-Indian fiction, basically. And
Yowza.
That sounds like an interesting read.
Well, arguing for if you're interested, never ask somebody about his PhD because he'll tell you. I've been arguing that after independence we enter an age of an aesthetic of apology, particularly in Paul Scott, and that it's just time to move on. It's certainly not to become an apologist for empire, but just time to move on and treat it as history and to stop being sorry, because the apology it's the sole prerogative of the academy and actually has no meaning in the real world now for a generation who knew nothing of that India. That's what I've been working on.
And I'm currently in Kay Mellors in the Club on BBC One, and I'm a singer as well, West End musical theatre. So I keep my hand in there. I'm doing some concerts at the Royal Festival Hall. I'm doing the BBC Proms in the summer, and my next thing filming-wise is with Eric Idle, because I did Monty Python's Spamalot, both in the West End and on Broadway. So he's written a new thing, and it's myself, Warwick Davis, Eric Idle, Brian Cox, and Bill Bailey, the comedian, and it's called Universe, and it's a hilarious look between Brian Cox trying to be sensible and teaching people things, and Eric Idle kind of screwing it up for him. So I feel in very privileged company. We're filming in August, and it's a 1-hour Christmas special on BBC One.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I might actually learn something about the universe.
In terms of getting into your characters, what do you do? Is just enough to get into the costume, or do you do something else? Do you have a process to get into it, to connect with it?
Go on.
Not usually getting into the character is kind of like the research you do before you get the job, or you could be still researching while you're still on the job. So I kind of get into character as soon as I put the costume on, and I kind of have my own kind of time, say at Castle Black on my own without chatting to anyone before. I just like to get into my space, look up at the sky, knowing where we are, thinking, I can't wait to get out of this world as the character and stuff, and just think, no, I'm not going nowhere, I'm here, just having your me time before you shoot or rehearse.
It's very important. Like I was saying earlier, Septa Unella is such an immensely different rhythm to my own, and even facially for me, having come from theatre, it was quite challenging and funny at times, especially for the directors. Because we have various different directors on different episodes. So one that hadn't met me and had seen the Walk of Atonement at the end of series 5, that then meets me to do the cell scene with Marjorie Tyrell, was just like, wow, you've got a. Then I went, big mouth, and he went, yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. So for me, something as simple as that, I naturally just have a very animated face, and I'm quite full of energy anyway. So it's lovely for me to have to absolutely strip back who I am, park that, and get back into her energy, and that, more than anything, has to be her steely, absolutely unswerving expression, demeanour, thought process, everything. It's like I feel like I'm going through a sheep dip and removing everything that, as a modern woman who likes to take care of herself, all of these things, all of that has to be stripped away, because it just wouldn't work for you to see any kind of charisma going on. She's a woman with an absolute unswerving job to do. So I love having to really park any feelings I have about anything, also in terms of being a woman acting with a woman and me dominating them in a very, very quiet, slightly passive way, sometimes aggressive way. Particularly the Walk of Atonement. There was a moment when David Nutter, our brilliant director on it, said, do you think you would help her up when she falls and looks up at the Red Keep? And I said, would you mind if I don't? Because I think it speaks volumes that a woman is not helping a woman at the time she really needs it. And seeing it back, I just thought, I'm so glad that was the right thing to do. It's finding those moments.
I think for me, costume it's not all, but costume is incredibly important, and particularly, as mentioned on the show, they're so good. And they're so willing to talk it through. My costumes have largely been made for me. And so we've been able to debate the correct angle for the I don't know what they call them, the things on the shoulder. Epaulets?
Epaulets.
Is it? No,
Hips,
not epaulets,
epaulets.
but
Shoulder pads.
yeah, whatever. That bit there. So we've been able to stand and debate what the right angle is. You know, no, that's too pompous for Mace. That's a bit modest for Mace. Just about there. That's about right. So we've been able to do that sort of thing, and I think the importance of it is, whilst you're talking about that, whilst you're working out why that's the right angle for Mace, you're beginning to develop Mace and think what his motivations are, what his modesties are, and to discover the big thing for Mace. And now I know what it is. Mace is a secure character for me because I know what it is that he likes and that he loves. And in his case, it's his family. He's got no interest of sitting on the throne, doesn't mind if Marjorie's on it, but his children are everything for him. And once you know that about a character, once you find what he gets up in the morning and thinks about, then you can allow, as you're describing, you can allow it to imbue your very being whilst you're in the costume. So it comes back to costume.
It does come from a germ, though, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying
yeah.
about his family.
Yeah.
It does really always start with a germ, and then it just kind of fizzes out from that.
But I mean, the point is, I mean, Joe's talking about research. Getting back to this point about it being an a-classical world, this completely non-real world. In a sense, it's difficult to research, except in the sense that we're involved ultimately in the human condition. And it's nice that all the other crap's been stripped away. We can just focus on the humanity of it all. And that's why the show's so good, by the way, because that's what it does.
And what's his relationship with his mom? Because she seems to be the dominant.
Well, she thinks she is. I mean, what can I say? You know, she didn't bring up my children. I did.
Ooh.
Brilliant. So, what's been your favourite scene to play? Like, what scene's been the best?
Well, I wonder what yours would be.
No, mine is not what
Is
people
it
would
not?
think. No, no, because well, actually, the Walk of Atonement was when we're standing at the top of the steps. Was my first ever day's filming, and I had had a baby 10 weeks previously to that, so I was standing there feeling a little bit like a startled rabbit in a wimple, if I'm honest. So as much as I enjoyed the enormity of it all and the fact that I was suddenly on this brilliant set was great in itself, but there have been a couple of moments, one particularly that I can't talk about yet, that was my favourite moment because it has pushed me, I have to talk about it without getting emotional, it's pushed me to really make myself go to the nth degree to a place I didn't think I could go to, or allow myself to be pushed. And it got to the point on set where I was asked to do something, and I thought, okay, this is my worst phobia. It wasn't something that had been explained to me was going to be as dramatic as it was. And I had the choice in that moment, I don't know whether you guys have had this in any other jobs, where you can either say, I'm sorry, I can't do this, or you can say, right, come on, girl, get on with it. This is basically what you get into this business for. I've never had any interest in being famous, nor will I ever have. It's not ever been what it's about. I think from coming from theatre, you know that that's not what it's about. So this is what you've always wanted. You wanted to be pushed. And once you see what happens, you will understand why it's a strange thing to say that that's my favourite bit, but what's coming
I
ahead.
can't wait.
Yeah.
Horrific.
it.
Horrific.
Who knew?
Yeah. I think I did quite well not to give anything away just then.
I think I can talk about it because it's been trailed. It's the army armour horse scene that's coming up in the next episode. Reasons why I liked it? Well, I mean, start with the location. We were in Girona, which is simply marvellous city. It's a gorgeous.
Beautiful,
oh,
beautiful.
Food, people, it's a just beautiful place.
Immaculate.
Weather, and I sat on a horse called Benz, who was charming and lovely and friendly. I had an army behind me, and I wore the most outrageous costume.
And you loved the soldiers, didn't you, as well?
I had the boys who were the soldiers, and there was a lot of them. They were fantastic. They'd all been drilled. So when the drill master something went, it was actually terrifying to hear them all march. You remember the sound of them?
Amazing.
So I was a bit sore. I spent a long time on the horse, and the armour was a bit hot. But you know what? It's an extraordinary helmet. David and Dan were kind enough to tell me that was, they thought, the best costume from the entire run of the entire show. Is that one, which will be on show this week.
It is epic.
It is.
I mean, it's look at me,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And I might add, incidentally, talking about costume, I'm wearing armour. It was made in metal. It was made by an armourer. There aren't many armourers left. And when he makes armour, he gets a sheet of metal and he beats it into shape, made to measure. And it's the most, I mean, how can anybody do that? But they do. You know the very famous armour of Henry VIII?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. We're in that sort
I
of
think
realm.
you want to keep that afterwards, show, don't you? That's my-
No, actually, because
Oh.
it's difficult to store and not a lot of opportunity to wear it.
When you do wear it, you can even cosplay as yourself. And just like walk around.
Can you imagine?
You guys look good.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see whether that costume is picked up by cosplay. I suspect it will be.
Oh, it's magnificent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will have a huge plume of feathers.
I love the first like a building of the story of the Night's Watch brothers when they first met, when they first got to Castle Black. I really enjoyed that because obviously, you know, Game of Thrones was new for me, so I was just, you know, it was the first time they'd met basically, and then obviously, so that was really nice to kind of think, you know, what's going to happen with these guys, and what's going to happen, where's the story going to lead on to, and then there was a break for me, and then I went. And then I enjoyed, season 4 where there was more stuff to do, running about, you know, more stuff to act to, you know. There's a big battle coming to this wall, and
Such a nice bunch of boys at the wall. I mean,
really,
just
really
the
nice.
actors, the
It was
people,
just,
are fantastic.
yeah, no egos. It's just everyone loves acting.
Blokes.
No, yeah, everyone
Good
loves
blokes.
doing what they do, and I love that. Apart from the arrow bit, but yeah, it was
You've only
amazing.
got one of the best fight scenes if you look at it that way. Like,
Yeah.
Of the series so far.
Yeah,
Of
that
course,
was amazing,
The current
yeah.
series, because we're just about to get the big tournament walk, but I think you probably got one of the best scenes in terms of.
They kept everything in because I did hear where Mark Stanley's character Gren, everyone just watched the giant come into the gate. It went blackout, and he was on the floor. It's like, well, how did he die?
Yeah.
How he died? What I heard basically, the giant knocked down the gate. They were scared. Gren went in with the sword right through the giant's underarm, through the heart, killed the giant, took out the sword. They cheered, the Night's Watch. Giant stirring, dies, falls on Gren, squashes him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I think it was, and he was saying something that was the most expensive bit of money they had to do, like work on that shot, but they cut it out. I think it just leads down to time, probably. But
That's how Mark died, was it?
that's how I heard. Yeah.
I didn't
Which
know
was-
that.
Because it was something missing, you know. It's like, how did he die then, you know?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But yeah, that was one of my
Giant backside on your head.
yeah.
Blimey.
Sit on my face.
And on that
Yeah, one, two, you know.
Oh, she's